Clutch closers. We talk all the time about how to close the deal, but what are the top 5 sins that are stopping you from closing the deal? These are the top 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are stopping you right now. Stay away from them. Don't do them. What are they? Number 1. The number 1 thing out there, I see it every day, all the time, and it has to end right now. Stop wasting your time. Closers do not show up to waste their time. They're there for one thing and one thing only. That is to get ink on paper, close the deal, move forward, advance their life, advance their career. It's not to waste their time. Stop wasting your time. Closers are there. They focus. They focus on step 1. Where am I at right now in the process? If I had to tell you, I've got you in front of me. If I want to close the deal, I need somebody who's here who is a buyer, a qualified buyer that's in the market right now. They're here right now to buy. I've qualified them. It's time to get ink on paper. That's focusing. Step 1 was the meet and greet. Step 2, qualification. You get where I'm going with this? Step 1, step 2, step 3. Closers focus on the process. They trust the process. They trust the system. They're not there to make friends. They're not there to waste their time. They are there to sell. Ink on paper. You have to do this. You've got to remove all the distractions, anything that's pulling away from you. This can be the greatest tool in your arsenal, or it can be your absolute worst enemy. There is so much on this phone to pull you away from what you're trying to do right now. Sure, I've got a great contact list in here. Truth is, if I wanted to call a prospect right now, this is probably where I'd do it. There's books, there's audio, there's YouTube, there's things that pull me in that can better my life, that can better my career, but there's also things that just complete distractions that pull me completely away from what I'm here to do right now, and that's close the deal. You've got to keep your chin up, looking forward, looking out. The one thing I can't... You see this, you see it all the time. You walk into any car dealership in America and up front, this is what you've got. Where in the world is this guy going? You're right here, you're right here, and guess what's going on around you? You keep your chin up, you're out, life's going on, deals are going on, prospects are moving around, money is being made, and if you're here and you're down, this is nothing. It's not here, guys. You've got to look up. You've got to keep your chin up. Remove all the distractions out of your life and focus on one thing. Closing the deal, getting ink on paper. Everything else that precedes that is done for free. Everything else before the signature is done for free. You get paid for one thing and one thing only. Clutch closers get paid to close. And while we're talking about removing all distractions, you'll also notice those clutch closers out there, they're making their friends outside the dealership. They're not at that dealership to make friends. They're there to close car deals. That's what they're there for. They're constantly moving. They don't have time to make friends. They're too busy making money. Make money or make friends. Go make your friends someplace else. When you're at the dealership, when you're at work, it's time to close. It's time to get ink on paper. It's time to advance your life, your career, and you're not going to do it in the smoke circle. You're not going to do it like this with your back completely turned to the lot, talking to everybody over this way. You're going to do it with your chin up, looking forward, focusing on today, focusing on right now. This is how we're going to make it happen. This is how we're going to close more deals. The number 2 sin that has to stop right now is taking it personal. Everything done before you get to the dotted line is free. You get paid for ink on paper, but ultimately that's all it is. Ultimately all it is numbers, words, and ink on paper. Don't take it so personal. This is a confusing business. You have to look at it from your customer's perspective. They are full of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Your job is to remove all that fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And if you're continually getting pushback from your customer, then you haven't done your job. You haven't removed that fear, that uncertainty, doubt. Don't blame your customer. Don't take it personal. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. I don't know. Kind of is your fault, right? You have to remove that fear, that uncertainty, that doubt in order to get to the next step. And while we're talking about not taking it personal, how many times has your customer, you tell them what their trade-in's worth, they get mad at you? That's an insult. And you think, it's just what your trade's worth. How many times has it been turned around the other way? They give you a crazy offer and you think, that's an insult. Just stop it. Don't take it personal. There's no such thing as a crazy offer as long as it's real and as long as you're moving forward. If you're getting pushback, it's your fault. It's your fault you're getting pushback. Don't blame your customer, but don't take it personal. Look at it as the challenge that you have to move forward and you have to remove this sin. Just stop it right now. Don't take it personal. And while we're talking about not taking it personal, let's talk about number 3. Number 3 sin that has to stop right now. Stop saying negative things about your customer. Remember, it's not their fault. It's yours. It's a natural reaction to want to somehow take this failure that you're piling up on your shoulders, and instead of learning from it, instead of advancing yourself in your career, you want to blame it on somebody else. So we start using all these negative terms. Don't call you Rambo. Just stop it right now. There's no such thing as Rambo. You know what Rambo is? Rambo's a buyer. Stop calling them bogues, mooches. There's no such thing. You know what a bogue and a mooch is? A bogue and a mooch is a buyer. Using terms that are only used inside the dealership, an up. What does that mean to a customer? That's an up. I have an up. I know what it means. You know what it means. Your customer doesn't know what it means. Just stop right now. All these terms devalue your customer. They devalue the experience. Your customers can feel it when you're thinking it. It makes it some kind of mental game inside of yourself where you're self-handicapping yourself. You're self-handicapping your own failure so you don't feel good about it. You're wanting to blame your customer. You haven't done your job, and so you're blaming the one person that's there that can help you move and advance your career, the one person that you showed up for, the one person that you've trained for all day, every day, that you've practiced and committed to doing, selling, closing, getting ink on paper, and that's who we're going to blame. It's not their fault. It's your fault. Close the car deal. Close the deal. Stop being negative about your customers and move forward. And if we're going to talk about blaming other people for our own failure, then that brings us to number 4, stop being a victim. If I had to pick a sin that I see every day, man, that's it. Well, really, all 5 of these I see every day, it seems like. But true closers, they're not victims. They take responsibility for where they are. If they're at the top of the board, it's their fault. If they're at the bottom of the board, it's their fault. You have chosen to get into a business where you live and die by the sword, and you get a report card, the best report card that you can ever get to show you how well you're doing at your job, how well you're doing at closing the deal, and it's called your paycheck. Your paycheck is you. It's your responsibility. It is how well you're doing. It reflects what kind of job you're doing. It's nobody else's fault but your own. I had a mentor one time who told me he got mugged. And he said, you know what? These people came up to me, they mugged me, and you know what they took from me? They took their watch, they took their money, they took their wallet with them when they left. And do you know how I know it was theirs? Because they took it with them when they walked away from me. And he said, I wasn't the victim in that situation. I put myself in that situation by being there in a spot where I shouldn't have been in the first place, and I could get mugged carrying a Rolex and a pocket full of cash. There was nobody else's fault but my own. It was time to move on with my life, count my losses, and learn from my mistake. When it comes to closing the deal, closers take ownership of where they are. Closers take responsibility for where they are, and you can just stop it right now. Stop being a victim. There's no such thing. It's your fault. It's nobody else's. Let's move on. And all that brings us to number 5, the 5th sin that has to stop right now. And this one's a cardinal sin because it affects everybody. Never, ever lie to your customer. There's no reason to. There's never a situation that you can put yourself in where it's okay to lie to your customer. There's no such thing as a small lie. There's no such thing as a white lie. What is it? I don't even know what that is. What is a small lie? What is a white lie? Try to define that to me. I have no idea what it is. You're either a liar or you're not. It's time for you to pick. Your customer asks you a question. Have you not seen the amount of information that's out there on the internet right now? You're here, you're looking at this, you found this channel some way, trying to hopefully advance your life, advance your career, better yourself. You're in the top 1% of closers in the nation, odds are, if you're watching this. And your customers are going to ask you a question. What are the odds are that they already know the answer? What are the odds are they're just looking for some kind of reaffirmation of why they should buy the product, good, service that you're selling them right now? They're not looking to be lied to. And let me tell you what a lie is. A lie is kind of like when you were 13 and you disappear off. You guys know what I'm talking about here. When you were 13, you disappear off to the bathroom for about an hour and a half and you thought your mama didn't know what you were doing in there. Let me tell you, she knew what you were doing. Oh, trust me right now. She knows right now. Go ask her. I'll wait. Oh, you're not going to ask her? Because you know your mama knows what you were doing in that bathroom for an hour and a half when you were 13. And when you lie to a customer, the customer knows that you're lying to them just as sure as your mama did. And so ask yourself, when a customer asks you a question, what's the right way to say it? I don't know. That's a whole lot better than a lie. I'll find out. That's a whole lot better than I don't know. I don't have that information right now, but I'll get it to you. That's a great question. You think I should know that. After all, I'm the expert. All those are better than lies. Never, ever, 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 ever lie to your customer. There's absolutely no reason to. It's time to cut out these sins right now. Those are the top 5 right now. Top 5 sins that are stopping you from closing the car deal. You want to close more car deals? This is how you're going to do it. You're going to stop doing these things right now. If you liked what you listened to, remember, hit the subscribe button. Get the little bell down there. That way you get the alerts when it's time for those new closes when they come out. Hit the like button if you liked what you've seen. It's time to close. Clutch closers, go close some deals.